So far, all of the examples that we've seen we've kind of limited it to a single package, and we've been working with inside that package. If you look at the first example that we did, like the hello world, we'll go ahead and create that again, main, and we'll say, type out main and print hello world. Notice something, that I'm kind of like using this function print9, and you kind of wonder, where does this come from? Like, where is it? Where is this function? If we navigate to it, we see that it's actually part of a package called Kotlin.io. And packages in Kotlin can also be used the same way as in Java, so you can import them as namespaces, etc. But this one isn't. That's because it's implicitly imported. There are certain functions that are implicitly imported. But I can import packages from other places. So let's say, for instance, that I have a class here. Let's go ahead and actually create a package here, a new package here. I'm going to say, we'll call it, for example, utils. So now I've got a package inside my basics package, and let's go create a file here. We'll call this, for example, sample utils. And I'll go create a function. Again, don't worry about the syntax for now. Some utility. That takes a name. And let's switch back to main. And if I want to use some utility, so if I start to type some utility, you can see that the IDE automatically imports it for me. So it's imported that, and it's imported the package name, and it's imported the function. We can, of course, do a kind of like a star import, which means basically import everything as that is part of that package. And we can also do a named import. So I'll call this, for example, some additional function. And of course, now this doesn't work. So I would have to rename this to some additional function. Okay, so we could do a named imports. This is great in terms of conflict. As I said, we can also import everything. And last but not least, there are also implicit imports in Kotlin, such as print9, that is part of Kotlin.io. So to summarize what we've seen in this part about Kotlin basics, there's two ways to declare variables in Kotlin. Var is for mutable variables, that is that you can assign the value and they can change over time. Val is for immutable. And again, Kotlin doesn't enforce immutability, but we do recommend that unless you really have a need to change the actual value of a variable, declare it as val. For loops, as we've seen, can use ranges using 1 ... 100 or down to up to for iteration. You can iterate over lists, collections of items, etc. And if and when can be used as expressions. But when you do use those, you have to make sure that every condition has every block, every part has a return value.